Hi, welcome to Barcart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about DAEDALUS is Dead by Seamus Sullivan. Just in time for the Odyssey, we have a funky little Greek mythology retelling for you. Now, longtime viewers of Barcart Bookshelf may know I am a classicist by training, and part of that means, for me, that Greek mythology retellings are a really tough sell. By and large, I don't really like them. It has that feeling of a busman's holiday. It just doesn't work, especially in some of the super popular modern iterations. And they're very popular books, so clearly they're tapping into something, but not for me. Daedalus is Dead, on the other hand, I think is a book that readers of Greek mythology, contemporary Greek mythology retellings are really going to dig, and one that I absolutely loved. It is clever, it is engaged deeply with the sort of casual brutality of antiquity. It looks in with a lyrical lens and does so without overstaying its welcome. It is a novella. I think a novella is just like the perfect size package for this sort of story because it gets at that lyricism of our mythological texts, which are often received to us via synopsis or via a zoomed-in moment on a single episode within a mythic cycle, and so can feel overblown when stretched to novel length. Not so with the marvelous novella, God's perfect form of literature. Daedalus is Dead is the story of the titular ancient inventor, architect, engineer, Daedalus, the creator of the labyrinth at Crete, which housed the Minotaur, the bull of Minos, and we take place largely in the underworld after his death. Daedalus is dead. It does what it says on the tin, but at the same time, we look back at times in his life, we look at this ongoing discontent between who he thinks he is and who he really is, his relationship with his son. It is one of these books that is deeply concerned with masculinity and paternity and fatherhood, what it means to be a father, what it means to be someone who thinks of themselves as decent but not necessarily great, someone who understands themselves but only so well. And so we get this really nuanced and deep portrayal of the character for a very slim volume. It's got this wonderful play with language. We touch on a lot of the elements of the Daedalus story, both around the labyrinth and beyond. And we get this really moving sort of story that ties into some deeply relevant themes as we live in a culture that talks a lot about a crisis of masculinity and the relationship between fathers and sons. It's really a thoughtful book, and one that I was very happy to spend a long afternoon with here in the beautiful summertime. And so, of course, we had to have a drink. Our drink today is the Waxwing Fizz, taken from the wings that famously Daedalus and Icarus create to escape Crete, and leading to that fall of Icarus that we've seen so much in literature and art, one of those sort of key motifs in here, at least in the Anglophone world of received sort of cultural heritage. And we're going to begin with an egg white. We'll get an egg white down into our tin. Lovely. like so. One of those things that really makes a fizz. We're going to get that froth, that foam, that beautiful structure that I think would make our Daedalus proud here. And to that, we will add the remainder of our liquid ingredients, starting with 1.5 ounces of brandy. Now, we don't have distilled spirits in the ancient and mythic Mediterranean, but we are still drinking wine, and it is mythologically strong wine, the sort of wine you water down, much like brandy, a distilled wine. So we will get 1.5 ounces of our grape brandy down into our shaker tin as well. We'll add 1/2 ounce of lemon juice, just a touch of that citrus zing, and then our sweeteners. So we see here in the novella recurring motifs of figs and honey. So we're going to get this fig liqueur. It's homemade with dried figs, sugar, and vodka. That wonderful sort of rich dried fruit wrinkled flavor. I really love it. It's great just on its own after dinner as a digestif, but it's also really fantastic in a cocktail, and is going to add a bit of that weight, but also that caramelized, rich, heavy, not heavy in an overwhelming way, but heavy in a weighty way, depth to our cocktail. And then we'll add 1/2 ounce of honey syrup, beautiful, made with 2 parts honey, 1 part water. Makes it easier to pour than just regular honey, but doesn't become too watered down. Honey, of course, is more viscous than the sugar that we use in making like a simple syrup, and so we want to use a little bit less water when we're making a honey syrup vis-a-vis a simple syrup. Just one of those tips for all you savvy sippers out there. And then finally, we're going to add 1/4 ounce of Strega. This is an Italian liqueur. It's sort of herbal, mentholated, crisp, chilly, herbaceous. It's been much on my mind lately. If you're a regular viewer of Bar Cart Bookshelf, then you're gonna find a lot of opportunities in recent weeks and months to use this bottle of Strega, because it's just fascinating to me. Really a delicious little liqueur. And we have this touch of witchery in the novella as well, in the character of Ariadne and in her offstage mother, Pasiphae, the mother of the Minotaur Asterion. And so we get these daughters and granddaughters of the sun who have that touch of greater spiritual agency that play into the narrative. I'll take all our liquid ingredients here and give it a dry shake. We want to start shaking up our egg white. It's going to help it to form that structural foam that really makes a fizz its own special style of cocktail. We really want to get those molecules in the eggs, those proteins, to start foaming up and fizzing. And so shaking without ice really helps to kickstart that sort of transformation. You know, these are the sorts of things that, had he been a cocktaileur instead of an architect, I really think that Daedalus could get behind and get into. He's a very clever man and interested and curious about the world, just something that I think resonates with a lot of readers of speculative fiction, a lot of cocktail and hobby enthusiasts as well, people who want to know more and become better. So once we've given that a good solid dry shake, we're going to get our ice down in there as well. Always, always, always adding our ice last and giving that a nice stout shake. And now we're getting things cooled down. We're diluting, we're blending, we are getting nice, frosty, freezy, and we're agitating those protein molecules as well. Those protein strands. Lovely. icy, frosty, freezy, chill. Fantastic. Give that another stout tap here. And then take a highball glass and double strain into the highball glass. We always want to double strain when we are mixing drinks with egg white, just because sometimes those proteins can form up in sort of thicker ways, and we wouldn't want to have any off textures in our cocktail, so we want to double strain with this fine conical strainer so that we catch any last little bits, and all we have is very smooth and supple and delicious. And then we'll top with seltzer. Just some plain sparkling water, and watch as that fizz, that foam, soars up to the rim of our glass. And there you have it. This is the Waxwing Fizz, inspired by Daedalus is Dead by Seamus Sullivan. A huge thank you to the publisher Tor.com for sending me a review copy of this a couple of months ago. It's one that I was really curious about for the fatherhood and paternity issues, and one that I had such a marvelous time with. I'm so glad that we could review it for all of you. I've got a link to snag it in the description down below, as well as a link to purchase my book, Cocktails and Consoles, 75 Cocktails and Mocktails to Level Up Your Game Night, including some Greek mythology games like Hades, favorites here at Barcart Bookshelf. We've also got a link to purchase Shatter the Sun, the latest anthology from Neon Hemlock. I've got a short story in that, The Peacock Wizard and the Cave of the Serpent Queen. If you like big pulp adventures where characters think about some complicated issues in their own biases, then I think you're really going to dig that and dig this. We've got links to various forms of social media, including Blue Sky and Instagram, where there's always a written version of today's recipe. Try the drink, let me know what you think in the comments down below, hit that like button, it makes me so happy when you do, and really helps us to determine what sorts of books we're going to cover here on Barcart Bookshelf. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you never miss an episode. Got some really great books that we're going to be talking about here at the end of July into August, September, all 2026 long, and I just can't wait to share them with all of you. Until next time, cheers.